everybody! That was a very, very enthusiastic intro considering the topic that I will be talking about today. So, I'm going to do a little pre-warning before anybody bites me on the arse and says, oh my god, you're so disrespectful, blah, 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 blah. Basically today I'm going to be talking about the after effects of your mental health when you've had skin cancer. I just thought I would make this video because yes, it could be so easy for me to talk about my anxiety and my depression in general, but specifically I want to talk about like after effects of having cancer, or as I say specifically skin cancer, because that's the one that I had. If you did not know this about me, or if you're new to my channel, I'm Heather, I'm 23 years old and I had melanoma when I was 20 years old. I'm fine now. However, there was a very dark time in my life after I went through skin cancer, which is what I'm going to talk about today. And I hope that somebody who is going through this right now knows that they're not alone. And I hope I can kind of give you that little bit of support, which I didn't feel like I had. I would say enjoy this video, but I'll try my best to keep it as light-hearted as I can, because cancer is a very, very touchy subject for a lot of people. And I'm allowed to talk about it in my own little way because this is how I dealt with it. So yeah, please don't be like offended. Or if you are offended, you know where the exit button is. It's one of these corners. Or it might be down there. As I say, I don't have a Mac. I think they're down there. Anyway, stop rambling, Heather. Let's get on with this video. Now, the most obvious reason why my mental health went was my self-esteem kind of went down the drain. This may sound very vain, very superficial, and very like cringe looking back. But at the time, I was so damn self-conscious of the scar on my leg. I'll show it to you now, but when I first had it, obviously it was a lot longer and a lot more obvious. Try my best to show you my scar without getting my feet in it, because I don't really want my feet on the internet. But this is what it looks like. I don't know how well you can see, but it's got this massive dent in it. Can you see that? Like, it's almost like I've got a little peephole. Woohoo, hi. That thing gave me a lot of low self-esteem. Like, it got to the point where I literally would not get my legs out. Like, even if I was wearing shorts in summer, I would wear my thick, black, opaque tights over it just so that nobody could see it. Because I was just so ashamed of it. Well, not ashamed of it so much. I wasn't really ashamed of it. It was just more the fact that I didn't want people to ask questions, to look at it. I remember the summer of 2016 where I did get my leg out once, and I had someone stare at it and it made me feel so bloody self-conscious. As I say, this was about 2.5 years ago, so my naivety also thought, oh, because I've got this scar on my leg, I'm not going to get any acting roles, you know, oh, woe is me. But in reality, no one's going to give a shit. You don't have to mention the scar on my leg. It might be an advantage, it might be a disadvantage for some people, but I tend not to mention it. But I know it's there. So if someone asks me about it, I'll be like, well, if I didn't have that scar on my leg, I'd probably be dead. And their faces go, I'm like, yeah, don't fucking ask me about it. Like, people are like, oh, how'd you get it? And they're expecting to hear some kind of, oh, I got bitten by a shark. But I'm like, haha, no, I had skin cancer. People are like, oh, what? You're so brave. And that is my second point. You're so brave. Those words I heard every single time I told someone, like immediately after my operation. It annoyed me at the time, and I will tell you why it annoyed me at the time. Because I did not feel brave for going through it. I didn't choose to go through it, obviously. But obviously, if I didn't go through it, I'd be dead. Morbid thought, but yeah. I think the reason why I said that I'm not brave is because I was the one that just literally lied on the operating table and let the nurses and the doctors cut out my mole and then have a second operation to cut even more skin around and, you know, stitch it back up. So I didn't feel exactly brave. The first one, I didn't feel it, but the second one, I was asleep. So I had no idea what was going on until I woke up, and I was like, ooh, my leg feels painful. Oh, yeah, you've kind of cut out half of my skin. It's quite funny, actually. I can't feel any nerves. Like, if I run a tweezer along the scar, there's a point where I literally can't feel it. It's so weird. So obviously, after having skin cancer, I have to have checkups every 5 years after my operation just to make sure that it's all okay. But in my last one, they told me, yeah, you're going to have dermatology checkups for the rest of your life. I was like, huh? Okay, great. So basically this is always going to be dwelling in my mind until I'm dead. Great, but I guess it's best to have checkups because it can put your mind at ease. So to know that you're okay and then it's not coming back. But it is annoying because every time I go back, all the memories flood back and I'm like, no, I just want to get it done with. I don't want to ask them any questions. Do you know what I mean? I just want to be like in and out there and them to just go like, yep, you're fine. See you in 6 months. Bye. That's all I want. I wish it was that easy, but every time I go back there, I'm constantly reminded of it. And that's another thing that kind of sucks about, you know, aftercare of skin cancer. The fact that you have to have the aftercare because if you don't, how are they going to know that you're okay? But also the fact that memories flood back. That kind of really sucks. But as I say, it's a part of the process. And I just take it as if you're going for a trip to the dentist just to make sure everything's okay. Rather than, oh God, they're going to find something. You don't want that mentality. You don't. Just think of it as just a trip to the dentist. Now, when I did go through my skin cancer, I did write a blog post about, like, I don't want your sympathy. And yeah, that's still true. When I went through it, I didn't want people's sympathy. If anything, I wanted people to understand that sun protection is so bloody important. And it really, really fucks me off when people say, oh, I look so healthy with a tan. I'm like, actually, that's quite the opposite. If you have a tan, you're not really being healthy. There's no healthy way to tan yourself. Unless it's a fake tan, then by all means, go for it. I'm happy with fake tan. It's just when people like put oil on their body to try and tan, or if they say, oh, it's fine, I go red and then I go golden. And I'm like, bitch, no, stop that. Like, oh, I get very preachy when it comes to sun protection and people laughing at getting burnt. I'm like, you're not funny. You're a fucking idiot. Sun protection is so sexy, I'm telling you. Ooh. The third thing I want to mention is the self-guilt and the self-hatred that I felt. Almost as if I was blaming myself for getting this. I kept thinking, why me? Why did this happen to me? It's a weird way to think about it, but I've had a pretty easy life up to when I had my diagnosis. So I think like the universe was telling me, yeah, you need something to like, you know, toughen you up a bit. So I guess they just sprung skin cancer on me. I still hate the sun. I have a weird irrational fear of the sun now. Like, I don't like going out in it. And if I do go out in it, I'm literally like covering everything or I'm staying in the shade. So, like, my friends understand when I'm like, guys, can we please, like, move somewhere, like, in the shade? I'm like, please, I don't want skin cancer again. I don't want to go through that again. I don't think anyone does. It was, I was going to say, like, one of the worst things I've been through, but that's medically, let alone mentally, let alone heartbreak, let alone family deaths. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to find the blog where I wrote, I don't want your sympathy, and see how much I've changed since that post, because it was quite hard to read actually when I like came across my blog again. So what I'm going to do in this blog post is I'm going to read out either a sentence or a paragraph and then comment on it. So what I wrote in 2015 is this: what is annoying me is that people think just because I'm clear means I'm going to go back to my cheery, happy, joyful self. I wish. I mean, of course this experience has changed me as a person, but I would hope it'd be for the better. I'd lived life to the fullest, to be kind to others, but in fact I felt a weight on my chest about life which I've never felt before. Yeah, I remember that feeling. It felt like, what was the point in carrying on because it's going to come back again? And here we go. Here's the sentence that explains this. I keep questioning every decision I make. What I want to do with my life after I graduate, why the hell I am at uni, can I really pursue an acting career? Yes, you can, Heather. Am I good enough for anyone? That's kind of another insecurity that's ongoing for me. I never feel like I'm good enough for anyone, but that's besides the point. Am I annoying people? That's another insecurity that is ongoing. But mostly it's that 3-inch scar that is on my left shin, which reminds me that my leg is never going to look the same again. I went through something that is serious, but throughout my treatment, I just laughed it off to help me cope. It is only now, looking back, do I realise how serious it was, and I haven't taken time to deal with it. Which is very true. You know what I was talking about earlier when I said I hated being called brave? There is a little comment here. That's another thing I hate. People saying I'm brave. No, I'm not. You only saw the good side of me, the facade I portrayed to the world. You never saw me having sleepless nights, crying, screaming, and having anxiety attacks. I'm losing my motivation for my degree because this fucking scar is a constant reminder. I'm losing motivation to live my life to the fullest in case it comes back. I'm constantly checking my moles and telling that to others. I have to have checkups for the next 5 years. I have to check my lymph nodes. I have to be careful of the sun. Skin cancer is not an easy cancer. Cancer is fucking cancer. I don't want to see a counsellor either. I just can't see how they can help me because they will never understand unless they've gone through it. That's another thing. I did eventually see a counsellor because it got to the point where I was like, I can't live with this burden on my chest for the rest of my life. I will go fucking insane. Not that I'm already a little bit insane, but hey, the best people are. But yeah, this is me just expressing my vulnerability that I felt during it. I really did feel like I was alone. I really didn't have any motivation to live my life to the fullest because I was like, well, what's the point? If I get it again, you know, I'm going to be back at square one. But you can't live your life thinking things are going to go bad or things are going to happen in the future. You can only live for the present. So thinking about your past, yeah, you learn from your past. Like I did, put on fucking sun cream. But you can't worry about your future because the future doesn't exist. You make your own future by doing it in the present, if you kind of know what I mean. Basically, don't worry about the future. You can only live in the present. All I can say to past Heather is, you were an idiot, like thinking that your scar was the worst thing that could have ever happened to you, because all I can say is about 2 months later, my grandma passed away. So past me, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, I tend to just laugh at how I did feel, but I'm not going to stray away from the fact that I did feel this way because this is how I dealt with it. And to get where I am now, I had to go through that. I had to feel insecure. I had to feel like life wasn't worth living because it might come back, which is just, as I say, such a toxic way to think. But I hope this video has kind of helped one of you who has been through cancer or going through skin cancer, or what you're going to be like in 2.5 years down the line. You will be okay. You will be. It's going to be a hard battle for you, but you will eventually be okay, and you will learn to accept it, and you will move on with your life. And you'll meet lovely people who will be understanding and want to listen to your story because, let's face it, girl or boy, it's very rare you ever meet someone who's in their 20s who has survived melanoma. You are a fucking special, unique person. Not many people can say that they've had cancer at age 20. Not something I'm proud of, but it's quite an interesting fact. But I always have to be careful not to talk about it too much, because you never know if someone's friend has died of cancer, and you don't want to make too many jokes about it. You just want to tell people it's happened, so when you get a bit iffy around the sun, they don't think you're an absolute weirdo. And then you don't just spring it on them when you're having a fun picnic or something like that. Love the skin you're in, girl or boy. Just love the skin you're in. It's okay to be pale. It's healthy to be pale. Love your skin. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. Just to finish off this video, if any skin cancer charities or anything like that are watching this, please get in contact with me, because I would love to be a part of a campaign or an interview or something like that, because it's very important to me that awareness is spread and how to check your moles and all that jazz. Girl's been through it. I can do it in an interesting and fun. Wow, I'm just giving myself own fucking PR. I'm just going to stop right now. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed my video, do give it a like. My last video is over there. You can subscribe by pressing up there. And yes, I shall see you in my next video. Bye.